Tie rod nuts. In most machine assemblies, there are 4 tie rod nuts, but since this machine has the optional tie rod puller, it only has 3. The tie rod nuts will be labeled for their corresponding tie rod. Apply anti-seize to both threads of the tie rod and the threads of the tie rod nut. Install each nut onto the tie rods and tighten until the nut is flush with the platen. Install each nut onto the tie rods and tighten by hand until the nut is flush with the platen. Both the tie rod and the tie rod nuts have 2 center punch marks. Using an overhead crane or fork truck, tighten the nut until the punch marks align. The machine will include a cowl rod heater that will have to be wired to 240 volt AC. The cowl rod heater will be inserted into the center of the tie rod to heat the tie rod in order to acquire the correct torque on the tie rod nuts. As the cowl rod heats up the tie rod, use an overhead crane or fork truck to turn the tie rod nut until the punch mark on the top of the nut is aligned with the bottom punch mark on the tie rod. This will be the correct torque for the tie rod nuts. Once the tie rod nuts are torqued, there is a set screw that locks the tie rod nut in place. Be aware that there are 3 holes in the tie rod nut. One hole is not threaded. One hole is threaded for an eye bolt to be installed. And one hole has recessed threads. The hole with the recessed threads is where the set screw will be installed.